Hello and welcome back. I'm Davis. Got Tales from the Beanbag, episode 5. Got another topic. This one's kind of a little weird, kind of out there. Just something got today. I wanted to talk about Nazi zombies. Why? I'm 26. I grew up as a teenager playing Call of Duty and shit. You know, Nazi zombies. I think started in Call of Duty World at War, came out like 2008. It was like 14, 15 when the still going strong. It's part of popular culture. It's one of the most popular video game series still, surprisingly. That's a little tired, but chances are you probably grew up playing those games too. With all your friends, Mountain Dew, fucking killing some zombies. It's a good time, always fun, but there's been a weird, there has been, even since World War II, like Americans have had this kind of fixation on, in fiction, on, like, kind of, I think Nazism in fiction, like, you see in, like, TV series, like, there's that Man in High Castle series where it's, like, dystopian, what if they won the war, very popular series. There's plenty of other, like the rehabilitated skinhead movie that I would call it, like, The Believer, American History X, Skin, stuff like that. I mean, the Hellboy movies feature, Nazi fiction where, you've probably seen Hellboy. And then even kids movies and shit like Captain America. Captain America has been around for 80-something years. Movies are super popular. Who doesn't love to see Captain America beat the shit out of Red Skull because he's a freaking Nazi? But yeah, I mean, we've seen this in pop culture for a long time in movies. It's kind of been a consistent thing. It probably won't ever go away because you see these things coming out. You see books, etc. Whatever, you see all sorts of stuff, but there is a really weird subgenre of horror about Nazi zombies, and where that originated from, and I don't know, I'm not too terribly knowledgeable about it, because I don't typically like watching grindhouse movies, but if you don't know what, like, exploitation films, and even what the term grindhouse means, exploitation films are a kind of movie where they're just made to exploit some trend or some kind of topic in the genre, like popular even subgenres of exploitation films are blaxploitation, which are made by African American filmmakers featuring African American actors, and then there's Ozploitation, which is about like Australian type of films. Then we even have like cannibal films or exploitation films. Then there's like weird outlaw biker films. A lot of shit where they're just really trash movies. They're gore heavy, but they were, back in the 70s and 80s when these types of movies were especially popular. I mean, people like Rob Zombie and stuff still do make kind of exploitation throwbacks. Like, the Grindhouse double feature movie features one of his clips that, is in it. But, there's also, going on through those subgenres, there's Nazi exploitation films where, like, the most famous is Isla, She-Wolf of the SS or something. I'm not going to watch it. I don't really care. It looks like shit. But these movies were just bad movies. Usually, like, just splatter films, trash. Just for fun. B-movies. Yeah, over-the-top violence, etc. But, like, you couldn't put these movies in a normal theater because they were so violence and gore heavy that the term grindhouse is derived from the theaters that these exploitation films were shown in the 70s. A lot of times they were, just for these movies and called grindhouses, or they were even shown in, triple X and porn theaters simultaneously, because rated X or NC-17 films were so taboo at the time. Like Texas Chainsaw was rated NC-17 or X. I mean, it went through so many cuts to get it in theaters, and still a lot of theaters wouldn't show Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even though it doesn't feature that much blood if you go and watch it. But anyways, so yeah, carrying on, like, the Nazi exploitation subgenre is really weird. I don't care to watch any of it, but, the whole fixation on that even continues into, like, films we see today, like, Green Room is probably the most grounded one, featuring Nazis in it. It's a great movie. It's probably the most grounded in reality. I talked about it in episode 1. Check that out. Go check the movie out. It's a great movie, but it's nothing preposterous or anything. Like Puppet Master is one of the ones that is a little more preposterous, because the whole series is based on, Andre Toulon trying to, like, kill people with puppets because he's a Nazi. Why? I don't know, but for some reason we get movies about zombies. Nazis turning into zombies. And who doesn't like, because like I said, Call of Duty. Who didn't enjoy Call of Duty? And if you didn't know, there's a ton of movies about this that predate Call of Duty by about 30 years. The first one in particular that I have not seen that is kind of the originator of this very small genre, but it's called Shockwaves. It's got Peter Cushing. I haven't seen it. I need to. Came out in the 70s. There's been a lot since, really low budget Nazi exploitation films that I don't really care to see because they look so poor quality, but that's considered to be one of the better and one of the first. But, I'm just going to go into chronological order. Like, I just have ones post-2000s that I've seen and would talk about, and some of these maybe you've seen, some of them are in theaters or have been in theaters, and a lot of these are kind of direct-to-video, but most, if not all, of these are pretty good, enjoyable, fun, obviously nothing deep. If you're expecting something deep, it's about, usually about, the whole genre is typically explained, and the plot details would say something like, American soldiers get lost in German forest, kidnapped by crazed scientist who works on people and summons the dead. Like, something like that. It's very derivative. A lot of these are the same kind of movie, and they kind of happen for 40 years, but people keep making them, people keep watching them. Because, who doesn't like seeing fascists get clapped? It's fun. But the first kind of one, and I think this movie was in theaters, but it's Outpost. It came out in 2008, features Ray Stevenson. It's kind of like I said, the plot where a bunch of soldiers are kind of out there, horde of Nazi zombies show up. It's an okay movie. It's not the best one on the list, but it's pretty fun to watch. I enjoyed it. Not something I'd watch again. It did spawn 2 other direct-to-video ones that I didn't see, and I don't really care to see them because they look pretty shitty, and that's what the consensus was, but Outpost is a pretty fun movie. I don't mind it at all. Next one, a little lesser known, is called Blood Creek. This is the most interesting one, I think, maybe on the list, but it stars Henry Cavill, who you know as Superman in The Witcher. It's much more of an interesting movie, kind of confined more to a small space about 2 brothers who kind of stumble upon a fucking weird zombie dude. It's cool. I like it. If you like Henry Cavill, go back and check out this. It's one of his first roles. It's really, really cool. It's a good movie. I like it a lot. Another one, which is actually, this next entry here has 2 movies, surprisingly, and I kind of hope we get a third, but it's Dead Snow. Dead Snow came out in 2009. It's a Norwegian film directed by Tommy Wirkola, I'm not sure which one's correct, but you would know him as the director of Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. He's gone on to do some American films, but Dead Snow, the original, is done, it's in Norwegian. All the language is Norwegian, so it's a little difficult to watch, but it's a comedy primarily. It's super over the top, it's super cheesy, it's a shit ton of fun. It's really good. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite comedy horror movies because it's so preposterous and so out there. And then 5 years later, in 2014, he put out Dead Snow 2: Red vs. Dead, which is actually also a little bit better, but this one's was also filmed in English, so it's a little easier to watch. Features some American comedians like Martin Starr from Silicon Valley. A couple other people were in it. It's even more over the top. It continues on what the original built. I haven't seen these movies since I was a teenager. I need to go see them again because they're a shit ton of fun. If you like comedy horror movies, these are definitely for you. They're really good. Another one we got. Doesn't fall too far into this style, but it does feature some. It's Manborg, which came out in 2011. It's from the team behind Psycho Gorman, the editor, stuff like that. It's probably the least well-known movie on the list, but it's kind of RoboCop comedy rip-off, mockbuster. It's super cheesy. It looks like shit because it's supposed to, but like this guy is killed in like this war in hell, and he's brought back to life as a cyborg, and he goes and kills Nazi zombies, and it's weird. It's kind of, you gotta be into some weird shit to like this movie. It's really over the top. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't always work. It might be one of my least favorite ones on the list, but Manborg's a lot of fun. Next one we've got, this one's like Dead Snow but serious. It's called Frankenstein's Army. I actually have one of the action figures, but yeah, that generic plot where this group of soldiers stumbles into this base, and there's this crazed Nazi scientist who's been experimenting on people and creates these like weird monster people, and they get stuck in there and they gotta fight them off. Kinda, it's cool. I thought it was fun. I have one of the action figures of one of the characters in it, but yeah, it's a little lesser known. It's not the best, but it's cool. Yeah, then the next one, which is almost, I thought it was it's a little too close in plot, almost to Frankenstein's Army actually, but it's Overlord, which came out 2018, which maybe you saw in theaters. It made a good amount of money. A lot of people thought it was going to be a Cloverfield movie, but it wasn't. But yeah, it's like I haven't seen it since it came out, but yeah, it was really, really popular. Probably definitely the biggest budget, most well known, probably most overall well received movie. I can't remember exactly who directed it, but yeah, it was cool. It was fun to see a movie like this and that big of a budget done really well. I mean, the performances are great. The sound design is freaking awesome in this movie. It just feels like you're in there in the battle scenes. It's really cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't a Cloverfield backdoor kind of movie, but it's also good it wasn't, because as a standalone movie, it's really cool. Kind of hope they would make another one kind of like it, or I hope we see maybe something like this on another big budget. But yeah, there's one more movie. I watched it the other day, and it's called Blood Vessel. It's on Shudder. It came out in 2012, 2019, maybe officially in 2020. But it's another movie. Once again, the plot's super derivative, but this army of soldiers on a boat. They've come across a old German, it's a old German ship, and they board it to survive. They get on there and they notice all sorts of weird shit happening. But the thing where this movie goes in a different direction is it's actually not about zombies. It's Nazi vampires, and they got like this Count, this Nosferatu Count Orlok looking dude who starts like killing all the soldiers on the ship. So I mean, it's not great. None of these movies really are, but it took it in a new direction, and it didn't really work, but I admire them for trying, because it's fun, it looks really cool. But yeah, I mean, Nazi zombies, Call of Duty, these movies are a fun time. They're not high art, they don't need to be. That's what exploitation films were all about. We're seeing that, continue. Like, Overlord came out, and it's like, whoa, this is a exploitation film on the big screen made for like $30 million. How cool is that? I don't know, it's kind of cool. If you don't like exploitation films, you probably won't like these, even though these are all modern and a little more sleek and stylish and less fucked up probably. But yeah, I enjoy these movies. If you like cheesy horror movies that are pretty self-aware, you'll like these. So that's about all the most popular ones from 2000. There's some kind of unknown ones here or there, but yeah, well, thanks for watching again. We'll see you next week. Try to get Leprechaun watched, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, if you like Nazi zombies, you'll like these. Like, subscribe, whatever. We'll see you next time.